For years, NATO air defense planners operated under a simple assumption: supersonic bombers were relics of the Cold War, expensive to maintain and vulnerable to modern interception. But new developments in Russian aerospace suggest that assumption may no longer hold. Russia has restarted production of the Tu-160 strategic bomber, the largest and heaviest combat aircraft ever built. And the question NATO commanders are quietly asking is this: can current defense networks actually stop it? The Tupolev Tu-160, codenamed Blackjack by NATO, is not a new design. It first flew in 1981, a product of Soviet ambition to create a platform that could carry nuclear payloads across intercontinental distances at supersonic speed. What makes it relevant today is not nostalgia, it is capability. This aircraft stretches 54 meters from nose to tail, weighs over 110 tons when fully loaded, and can reach speeds exceeding Mach 2.05. That is over 1,500 miles per hour, at altitude. With a combat radius of nearly 7,300 kilometers without refueling. Think about that range for a moment. A Tu-160 taking off from an airbase deep inside Russian territory can strike targets across Europe, the North Atlantic, or the Arctic without ever crossing a border. It does not need forward staging. It does not need overflight permission. It simply climbs, accelerates, and delivers its payload from standoff range. The aircraft carries up to 45,000 kilograms of ordnance internally. That includes cruise missiles, precision-guided munitions, and in its updated configuration, hypersonic weapons. The Kh-47M2 Kinzhal missile, which Russia has integrated with various platforms, is reported to reach speeds up to Mach 10. When paired with a supersonic launch platform already traveling at Mach 2, the engagement envelope becomes extraordinarily difficult to counter. Intercept windows shrink, reaction times collapse. Defense networks designed to track subsonic threats suddenly face geometry problems they were not optimized to solve. Now compare this to NATO's primary heavy bomber, the B-1B Lancer. The Lancer is fast, capable of Mach 1.2, and carries a similar payload, but it lacks the sheer speed margin of the Tu-160. In a penetration scenario, speed is survival. The faster you move through contested airspace, the less time an adversary has to coordinate intercept, lock targeting solutions, or reposition surface-to-air systems. The Tu-160 operates in a speed band that forces defending forces to make decisions in seconds, not minutes. Let us talk about the propulsion system. The Tu-160 uses 4 Kuznetsov NK-32 afterburning turbofan engines. Each engine produces approximately 25,000 kilograms of thrust with afterburner engaged. Combined, that is 100,000 kilograms of thrust, pushing a massive airframe through the stratosphere. These engines are among the most powerful ever fitted to a combat aircraft. They allow the Tu-160 to supercruise, meaning it can sustain supersonic speed without continuous afterburner use, conserving fuel and extending operational range. The variable geometry wing design is another critical feature. The wings sweep back during high-speed flight, reducing drag and improving stability at supersonic velocities. At lower speeds, during takeoff, landing, or loitering, the wings extend forward to provide greater lift. This adaptability makes the Tu-160 versatile across different flight profiles. It can perform low-altitude terrain-following penetration runs or high-altitude supersonic dash profiles, depending on mission requirements. Russia has not just restarted production, it has upgraded the platform. The Tu-160 M2 variant includes modernized avionics, enhanced electronic warfare suites, and compatibility with next-generation weapons. Reports indicate that new airframes are being built at Kazan Aviation Plant, with plans to produce multiple units per year. This is not symbolic, this is industrial commitment. Russian defense officials have stated intentions to produce at least 50 modernized Tu-160 M2 bombers over the next decade. That represents a significant investment in strategic aviation capability. The cockpit has been completely redesigned. The Tu-160 M2 features digital glass cockpit displays, improved navigation systems, and advanced communication equipment that allows real-time coordination with other platforms and ground command centers.
The electronic warfare suite has been enhanced to detect, identify, and jam enemy radar and missile guidance systems. This gives the aircraft improved survivability when operating in contested electromagnetic environments. The strategic implication is straightforward. If Russia can deploy a fleet of these bombers, each capable of launching hypersonic or supersonic cruise missiles from beyond the range of most NATO air defense systems, the calculus of deterrence shifts. NATO relies heavily on layered air defense, Patriot batteries, THAD systems, NASAMS networks, and fighter intercepts. All of these are effective against subsonic cruise missiles and ballistic threats. But a saturation attack launched by multiple Tu-160s, each releasing a dozen standoff weapons simultaneously, creates a targeting problem that current systems may struggle to solve in real time. Let us examine the weapons payload in more detail. The Tu-160 can carry the Kh-47M2 cruise missile, a subsonic weapon with a range of approximately 2,500 kilometers. It can also deploy the Kh-101 and Kh-102 variants, which are stealthier, more accurate, and have extended range capabilities. The Kh-101 is reported effective against hardened targets and uses terrain-following flight profiles to evade radar detection. When you combine these weapons with the bomber's speed and range, you create a strike platform that can hold targets at risk across an entire continent without ever entering defended airspace. The hypersonic integration changes everything. The Kinzhal missile, when launched from a high-speed, high-altitude platform like the Tu-160, gains additional kinetic energy. The missile's flight path becomes even more unpredictable. Its maneuverability during terminal phase makes interception extraordinarily challenging. Current NATO missile defense systems were designed primarily to counter ballistic threats with predictable trajectories. Hypersonic glide vehicles and air-launched hypersonic missiles present a fundamentally different challenge. They can alter course mid-flight, making intercept calculations exponentially more complex. Let us be clear, this is not about invulnerability. No aircraft is unstoppable. The Tu-160 is large, detectable on radar, and requires extensive support infrastructure. It is not a stealth platform like the B-2 Spirit. Its radar cross-section is significant. Advanced radar systems can track it at considerable distances, but it doesn't need to be invisible. Its operational doctrine is built around speed, range, and standoff strike. It does not penetrate deep into defended airspace. It loiters at the edge, launches, and withdraws before defensive assets can close the distance. Fighter intercept is theoretically possible, but practically difficult. The Tu-160 cruises at altitudes above 50,000 feet and speeds exceeding Mach 2. Most fighter aircraft would need to scramble, climb to intercept altitude, accelerate to matching speed, and close the distance before the bomber completes its launch sequence and retreats. That sequence requires time, fuel, and precise coordination. If the bomber is operating over international waters or just outside territorial airspace, the legal and tactical complexity of intercept increases. By the time fighters arrive on station, the bomber may have already released its payload and turned back. This is why NATO air defense planners are paying attention. The threat is not the bomber. The threat is what it carries and how it delivers it. A Tu-160 armed with hypersonic missiles can hold critical infrastructure across an entire theater. Airfields, command centers, logistics hubs, energy facilities. All of these become targetable from ranges that exceed the reach of most defense systems. This forces NATO to extend its defensive perimeter outward, deploy more early warning assets, and maintain higher readiness levels for intercept forces. All of that costs money, manpower, and operational tempo. There's also the Arctic dimension. As ice coverage declines, the Arctic is becoming a contested strategic zone. Russia has invested heavily in Arctic military infrastructure, airfields, radar networks, and naval facilities. The Tu-160, with its extended range and cold weather operational capability, is ideally suited for operations in this environment. It can patrol vast distances, monitor NATO naval movements, and deliver strikes across the North Atlantic without ever entering European airspace. Russian bombers have conducted regular patrols along the edges of NATO airspace, testing response times and gathering electronic intelligence on radar systems and fighter deployment patterns. The economic aspect cannot be ignored. Producing and maintaining a fleet of Tu-160M2 bombers requires significant resources. Each airframe is expensive to build, and operational costs are substantial. Fuel consumption at supersonic speeds is enormous. Maintenance on 4 high-thrust turbofan engines is complex and labor-intensive, but Russia appears committed to bearing these costs because the strategic value justifies the investment.